What up, guys? Welcome to my reaction series. Today we're talking about liberals are starting to get why men are giving up. So men are giving up on dating and relationships. Every year, more and more men are refusing to approach and court women, and the marriage rate keeps dropping. It turns out that the liberals and the mainstream media are finally taking notice. Let's take a look at the panel of liberals finally realizing how bad men have it in the dating market.
Pointing this out to me, that there is strong emerging evidence. It turns out that, thanks to Anna pointing this out to me, that there is strong emerging...
Isn't she a lesbian? She should know. This woman should know how bad men have it, okay?
Evidence Gen Z is indeed less sexually active, dating less compared to previous generations.
Yeah, so when they say Gen Z is less sexually active, the men are less sexually active. I know the data will tell you one thing, right? There'll be these studies that say, oh no, like the men, it's the men and the women. Yeah, what incentive do these studies have to be honest about the women throwing it back? The women, now they have phones and stuff. They just want to get with the most clouded guy, and a lot of guys are getting iced out, sadly.
Yes.
What's going on, guys?
So many things.
Okay, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. But first, let me set it up and give you the deets. Okay, what's going on? So
can we go past can we go over?
We can if you can, Doc.
Yeah, I go over. Yeah.
So there have now been multiple studies indicating that young men. I'm talking about the ages
can we
when
do
they're
it
like
point by point as you're bringing these things up. Can I address them as you bring them up?
Sure.
So each of these things have layers to them.
They do.
Young
So
men.
I'm going to give you
first. Let's talk about them.
We're going to talk about young men first, and this has to do with their sexual activity.
Yes.
So
you need to define young so we can.
Yes, I am.
Good point.
So let me do it uninterrupted so I can get it out.
Okay.
So Indiana University, for instance, did a study, and they found in their study of men between the ages of 18 to 24. So we're talking about the time when they like really want to get it on, usually, right?
Yes.
Only one in three of them reported no sexual activity in the past year. 1 in 3. Yeah. So 1/3 of young men in that age group.
And it's very obvious because most men were not selected to reproduce. In a way, monogamy benefits betas the most, because the way the natural, like the jungle, is going to go is women want to share the alphas, right? But then the betas get mad, they start to revolt, and they're like, all right, this is bullshit. We're running society just for you guys to bang our women. Like, we don't get a woman. And so then there's destabilization. That's bad. So monogamy is supposed to be a contract. It's kind of like the alphas are like, all right, you can have some women. Ladies, go ahead. And the ladies, they're like, I don't want to. Unfortunately, right? And that's marriage. Because essentially men want to bang as many women as possible. Women want to keep going for a higher and higher guy. So this is a compromise. The problem is nowadays marriage is only a compromise on the men's part, because the women get to spend their 20s trying to get a higher and higher guy. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. All I'm saying is it's not particularly the deal it used to be. But anyways, in a way, nature's correcting itself, because now women are basically going back to the old days where most men didn't reproduce
at all.
Yeah.
And
before, like, monogamy.
I want to know why.
What's the comparison point? Like, what happened 20 years ago?
What was it?
Yeah, 20 years ago, what was the rate?
I don't know the comparison rate.
30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior, the study is the first to include such a comprehensive assessment of diverse sexual behaviors. The information came from U.S. participants ages 14 to 49 during 2009.
14 to 49.
Yeah.
2009?
No, between 2009 and 2018. So this is a long-term study that they did.
So, and by the way, it's worse since COVID.
Yes.
COVID
Okay.
made it
Oh,
worse.
yeah, completely.
Yes. So there have been others.
I would mess up this panel. I would do so well. Someone put me on. Put me on this panel.
Showing that this was even more pronounced after COVID.
What's the mechanism there?
Really, before you go, doctor, can I just say one quick thing?
Please.
I blame feminism. Listen, Tinder just put out a...
Everything Everything's more competitive right now. Dating, business, and just life in general. But most guys are being lied to. They're told to chase fantasies, trad values, fairy tales, and fake gurus. We found men who cracked the code, guys who killed it on dating apps, dominated cold approach, or built passive income. Real world, tested results. Join our private university and learn directly from the men who figured it out. Click on pearlinvite.com, watch the short video, and book your call. Is that who I think it is? Is that...
Filter. What I can say about this
Girl,
dating
that is
market
not feminism.
is
Women hating on the short kings is not
but
feminism.
women believing that they should be empowered enough that they can create their own custom-built men that they deserve.
All women are feminists, so just ignore this when we say this. We all want the same thing. We all want the hot. Feminism's a strategy for women to get with hot guys, and if you want to see if a woman's a feminist a real way, tell her to marry the guy in her friend zone and look at her face. We would rather die. And I don't say this in a nice way, but sorry, I don't mean this in a mean way, but it's just how women feel about it. And we can get mad all we want, but it just is what it is. It's the game.
Everything. Don't need to work for anything, whereas men, they need to build up their income, their body, their physique, their personal development. Apparently, that's the one thing they can't build up, right? This dating market is totally rigged for women. And I think that's why guys aren't getting laid.
Benny Johnson said this to me, and then I'm going to stop talking because I definitely want to hear from Dr. Drew, but he's like, the world was a better place when men had a harder time seeing boobs. And I kind of wonder. Okay, anyway, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so remember, women's default manipulation is using sexuality to get ahead and get resources. So a lot of times when you hear conservative women bang on about corn, it's not because they're really that upset about corn and really believe, like, come on, it's not damaging society the way they're trying to paint it. Okay, they're mad because now when when they don't sleep with their husband, they say, give me my way or no sex. He says, all right, F off, I'm going to go watch that 22-year-old. That's why the women are mad. It's not morality, okay? Come on.
Another layer to it, that their men are just, okay.
Too much porn.
So let me
that is my question.
Let me quickly clarify the study, okay? Because it wasn't a long-term study. My bad, I misread this. So they did the study in 2009, and then they did the same study in 2018. Yes, so to compare. And this is what they write. So they say, compared to adult participants in the 2009 survey, adults in the 2018 group were significantly more likely to report no penile vaginal intercourse in the prior year, the researchers found. Study participants were also significantly less likely to report engaging in any other sexual behaviors, such as oral sex or, other things.
Anything. Yeah.
All modes of past year partnered sex were reported by fewer in the 2018 cohort. So it is a growing problem.
Oh, yeah. And so we know birth rates are plummeting, right? So people are not forming pairs. They're not falling in love. They're not having sexual encounters. There's some data that shows that the apps are leaving a 5 or 10% zone of men that are having lots of sex, and they're the ones that
super
are super users, and they're actually hurting people. They're hurting women.
Any woman that knows what the term super user is, they're someone that's been used. Now, I'd like to say, which most women have, don't let these women fool you and think, oh, I've never, most women have taken an L at some point. Women always show the screenshots of men, right? But they rarely show the screenshots of they'll always show men shooting their shot and we'll screenshot it, but we never show the screenshots of us simping. Now, the one thing that blue-pilled men tend to believe is they believe that the women are being used by the top men, right? And that's a very blue-pill belief. If monogamy was enforced tomorrow, who would be the first ones to revolt? Women. Women love being side chicks. It's why women watch Scandal. It's why we love Monica Lewinsky. Women are bigger fans of Monica Lewinsky than Melania, and there's a reason for that.
And women I hear a lot from women, where are the men? Where are all the men?
There's a term for that.
There's
They're
no
called
men.
fuckboys.
Well, you have
Literally,
vilified being a man. You have vilified it. I have been around the Gen Z and the millennials for quite some time. And what I saw was men fearful of being seen as toxic or trying to rape. They just withdrew. And if you, God help you, if you offer a girl a beer,
I'll take the beer.
I would too.
I'm a married woman.
I have a friend that got kicked out of 2 bars in New York for.
All right, do you see that again? I'll take the beer. I'm married, but we get away with this stuff because men, women, when we are unhappy, we will let everybody know. We cannot go through life unhappy and not say anything. Men just get apathetic. They get indifferent. They just don't care. They withdraw. So.
Men drink 2 different bars.
Are you serious?
It's considered predatory.
Wow.
So men are scared shitless. They don't know what to do. Then because they're withdrawing so much, they first of all don't feel worth. They're being told they're not worthwhile. They're particularly young white men are told they're bad, they're evil, they're the source of all problems. And they don't develop the skills necessary to
communicate.
communicate,
so sad.
to determine what they want to do. And they turn to porn.
I was going to ask you
and
that.
the porn gives them unrealistic expectations about everything.
Oh, yeah.
And they sort of take the position like, I'm fine, I got my porn, I'm fine. And for the first time, I did a show called After Dark for a few years over at your mom's house. And I started hearing about, from young men, something I had not heard all these decades talking to young men, the use of prostitutes. They were starting to turn to prostitutes because they had no other option.
At a certain age, you got to use a hooker as a guy, unfortunately. I don't want to say you have to, but okay, if men get to 30-ish and they haven't gotten laid, or 30, 32, 30, they get kind of weird. And it almost gets to the point where they get such a deficit in that area that it's very hard to come back from and date normally. So at some point, I'm not saying use a hooker, but if you're on track to being a 40-year-old virgin, most men, a woman will find them eventually. But if you're on track to being a 40-year-old virgin, you're going to be pretty weird, and it might not be learnable at that point. And that's the other issue with younger guys is talking to women is a skill. And so they got the legal barriers of women not, women putting all the legal barriers in the way. They also have technology now, women, it's all digital. So a skill that men, they used to get their boys and go, I don't know, try to chase down some tail. But now it's DMing on Snapchat, so they don't really learn the skill. And so then again, the top 20% of men become smaller and smaller and smaller of the men taking home all the ass, essentially.
Fans, because OnlyFans, especially in today's generation, young women are literally getting excited to turn 18 so they can create an OnlyFans because they are seeing other women out there portray this lifestyle. And you know why they're oftentimes portraying it? Because there are affiliate programs attached to OnlyFans where if you recruit other women, you make a buck
a pyramid scheme.
off of what they make.
Terrible.
We got to stop. Again, the way she's framing it, it's women are coerced or convinced to do OnlyFans. Women don't do OnlyFans for money. We got to let this dream die. Women do OnlyFans because they love the excitement of being naked on camera. Again, if corn was banned tomorrow, the first people that would revolt would be women. They would say, no, I must get naked on screen. I have a right to get naked on screen. They would. It wouldn't even be the men. It would be the women.
Scheme for
Where are
sex,
the parents?
This is the prostitution
I have the
aspect
answer
is becoming
to
more
that
and more
question.
normalized. And it's not just that. They're not only buying these women's pictures, but then their managers are messaging them, building parasocial relationships with these men.
The parasocial relationship thing is huge.
It's sick.
So Dr. Drew, one last question, because I hear you in regard to culture and how that's changed and how that impacts, relationships in America. I am also curious about the impact of social media and how increasingly people aren't actually meeting with their friends in real life, communicating face to face. So when you don't have that, there's a difficulty in communicating when you're trying to, seduce someone into a relationship.
All of it speaks of no experience, no skill.
Right.
I remember back in the 90s, I used to be, the hookup culture was the big thing. And I kept saying, you're not happy doing this, I can tell, because you're always drunk when you do it. And I was advocating dating, where you just sit down, enjoy time with somebody, learn who you are, learn who to break bread, whatever. Don't have all these expectations on every time you go out with somebody. That needs to come back again, that people need to hang out in person, in flesh with people a lot, and just enjoy that and develop a skill and start to figure out who you are.
Yeah, the problem is it's a lot harder to get laid when the women aren't drinking. I mean, that's what you hear from the PUAs. It's like kind of like you're playing, like guys already have it on hard mode, and it just makes it harder.
One, who other people are. But this vilification of the young male has gone out of control, and they're pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm worried when they come out of it that they're.
I have a confession.
Adam said
like
the same thing.
A big confession.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, every woman is different. So I don't speak for all women.
You don't?
I don't. But I also have a problem with like some women, you know, who have engaged in that, you know, rhetoric in regard to men, kind of speaking on my behalf, because I'll just talk about my preference. My preference is masculine men, like traditionally masculine men. That's what I'm just attracted to. I can't explain why. It just is what it is. So this like push to make men meek is unfair to women who don't want meek men either.
I don't know any women who truly want that,
very
Dr.
few
Drew.
people
In fact,
want
from
that.
an evolutionary perspective.
No, women do want that, but for the beta buck side of hypergamy, right? Women want, you know, because there's the guy women want to sleep with, and then there's the guy women want to tell their problems to, cry with, be friends with, and do all the girly stuff. So just so you know, the more you listen to our problems, unfortunately, the more you're in the beta buck side. So the guy that women like to bang, yeah, he doesn't have to do any of that.
Doesn't
the
make sense.
masculine guy thing. I remember
like if I'm on a train or if I'm on the metro and there's someone who's threatening my safety and there's a bunch of men there and they just kind of sit back and let it happen, that's a freaking problem in society.
But the thing is, there's a huge demographic, to your point, who does celebrate wife guys, right? Like, remember how they elevated Doug Emhoff because he was all feminine and happy to be behind Kamala Harris? Do you remember that?
Well, they do some women
no one's hot for Doug Emhoff.
Yeah, and women do like wife guys at a certain period of their life. You know, the biggest, like, here's the problem with marriage and men that believe in marriage in a way. They don't realize women were designed to be passed around. And this is not a fun reality, but women want different things at different points in their lives. The challenge you get is with marriage, women have to fight that urge, and we're paid to not fight that urge. So most women don't. Like, you know, when women are in their 20s, like under 25, let's say, women don't care about money at all, or the wife guy at all. But we hit 32, and then all of a sudden that becomes a priority.
That's a psyop, Doug Emhoff.
I mean, look at
no one is hot for Doug Emhoff.
That's not what I'm saying. Is that's what they're celebrating as the archetype. And Dr. Drew, since you're here, I want to bring a medical component into this. Okay. And that's the use of Propecia and finasteride.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that. Could it be plummeting?
So it's interesting. The most liberal woman is the most soft-spoken. And I want you guys, I'm spitballing here. Sometimes I think liberal women are better to date than conservative women because it shows they're easily programmable. So if she's programmed by society, if you hit it right, maybe she could be programmed by you too. You know what I mean? You know, I don't really see a difference between conservative and liberal women.
So
hair stuff.
Here are the things.
It blocks androgens, which I'll let the doctor do.
So Propecia and all these medicines do drop testosterone.
And millions of men
and they
are on
drop
it.
libido. And in about 20% of cases, it never comes back.
Oh, God.
So when that was documented about 10 years ago, I had to call all my patients on Propecia and say, "Do you still want to continue?" Most of them did.
But
I would.
What about this? What about this piece too? There were
20%.
some reports
10,
that when women take birth control, it actually alters the type of man that they are attracted to.
Yeah. So what happens? From my understanding, I'm not a doctor. Women don't ovulate. So we want different, that's the problem. We're such whores. We want different types of guys based on where we're at in our cycle. So when we're ovulating, that's when we want the muscle men. And then when we're not ovulating, that's when we want the the wife goggles guy or whatever, wife jack guy. So birth control takes away ovulation. So then women don't want that type of guy during that period. So then we only like the wife goggles guy, wife jack guy.
They are attracted to more beta, feminine males.
Tell me how to fix this finasteride problem. I need to know.
Hair transplants. Get off the finasteride.
No, but what if they're against it? Trust me, I've gone down this.
You can't do the TRT because then they go bald. You see, if they have a problem, then you do TRT, but they will go further bald.
I've researched this extensively, and one solution that was presented was topical finasteride. But what if they have hair currently?
So the high dose Rogaine with finasteride and a steroid is a very effective topical agent. Some of it is absorbed still, but that is an alternative.
But you have a bigger problem with crashing testosterone, and we don't know why.
Well, it's all the above, plus obesity, testosterone down, estrogen up.
Yep.
There's so many reasons our testosterone levels are down. We need to get back. Resistance training needs to be part of our daily life. Everybody, and we are unhealthy.
Sleep, stress, weight management.
Okay, so I think we got the gist. Yeah, guys, so now even the liberals are conceding that masculinity is being vilified. So anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know, do you guys prefer liberal women or conservative women? I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.